let's continue with Star Trek month. My Guardians of the Galaxy shirt is oddly relevant because which one? Gamora is played by Zoe Saldana, who also plays Uhura in the reboot version of Star Trek films. Now, going into this Star Trek month, I didn't actually plan on comparing Wrath of Khan and Into Darkness in a formal movie face-off video. I just thought I could just get out all of the comparisons in a regular mini movie review. But after watching Star Trek Into Darkness, I figured that there is enough for me to do a proper movie face-off about. I mean, I'm not sure if it's the best of the J.J. Abrams films, seeing as I've yet to see Star Trek Beyond, but it is definitely the most talked about. And it has, of course, obviously, be compared to Wrath of Khan a lot, so we have to talk about this. Wrath of Khan, Into Darkness. 5 rounds. Warp speed, punch it. Well, that was lame. Anyway, round 1, story. The story of the Wrath of Khan, if you caught my earlier movie face-off video, is about Kirk, now Admiral, joining the training crew of the Enterprise as they're being trained to, be an actual crew. Of course, the ship also has Spock, Scotty, Uhura, and Sulu. And of course, Chekhov later comes in, but he's part of another ship, but that's too complicated to get into this video. Anyway, Khan is discovered on the planet he was marooned on back in the original Star Trek show. He manages to take command of the ship that discovered him and his people, and he lures Kirk and his ship in, and the big fight for the Genesis Project, a project that can make an uninhabitable planet habitable in a matter of minutes, as well as the battle for their lives begins. With Into Darkness, we have Khan at this point in the movie undercover as, what was his undercover name? Sorry, this is gonna bother me. Harrison. Khan, known at the beginning of the movie as simply as John Harrison, does a couple of terrorist attacks against Starfleet on planet Earth, causes Kirk and his crew to go out and retrieve him from the Klingon homeworld, and it is revealed that Admiral Marcus has been secretly planning advanced weapons and technology in preparation for a war with the Klingon Empire that he was orchestrating this entire time, and now battling against him as well as Khan begins. I probably simplified both of those stories a little bit too much, but that's the basic premise of both movies. With the story of Khan, the part that people already obviously talk about in regards to the Wrath of Khan is the battle between Kirk and Khan. Man, I'm saying that name a lot. Of course, another part of the story includes the Genesis Project, as well as the revelation of Kirk having a son this entire time, who gets killed off in The Search for Spock, the movie right after The Wrath of Khan, but let's not talk about that right now. A lot of this other stuff that happens in the movie seems to be more of a side note than really factors that much into the story that's going on. With Into Darkness, the conspiracy plan of Admiral Marcus, as well as the threat of Khan himself, are actually pretty equally balanced and actually factors in to the movie pretty well. Well, better than how they try to tie in Genesis and Kirk's surprise son into the battle between Khan and Kirk. So, with noting the more equal balance and focus, I'm giving this round to Into Darkness. Let's move on to round 2. the main characters. Obviously, we've got Chekhov, Sulu, Uhura, Scotty, McCoy, Spock, and Kirk, as well as some other supporting characters, but those are the main ones, played by their original actors. And of course, we have all of that in Into Darkness. We have Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura, as well as a couple other supporting characters. Now, I love the actors they chose for the reboot films. They do great jobs, and they put in some pretty great performances, especially in this film as well. But the cast of The Wrath of Khan, it's more significant because this was a villain that made one episode appearance in the original show, but he stood out in people's minds, which is why he was brought in for the second film. And like Spock said in Into Darkness, he became the most dangerous enemy the Enterprise has ever encountered. And that's for good reason. And so the threat of that makes the characters of the Enterprise go through a more personal performance. Now, that's not to take anything away from the Kirk dying scene in Into Darkness, but the Spock dying scene in Wrath of Khan is just more memorable, and it touched people a lot more. So, with that in mind, I'm giving this one to The Wrath of Khan. Let's move on to round 3, special effects. Humor me. The effects of The Wrath of Khan are definitely better than the original show, considering the original show was in the 60s and The Wrath of Khan came a couple of decades later. And in small doses, the effects do actually work pretty well. Of course, the one thing that the J.J. Abrams films will always have over the original 6 films is updated special effects and more action. I mean, the effects used in Into Darkness are pretty damn realistic and cool looking, and it's visually pulls you in more into the movie. I don't have much else to say. You kind of knew what this was as soon as they said the round. This one goes Into Darkness. Now let's move on to round 4. The atmosphere of the films. Into Darkness, the atmosphere of it is a little bit darker than the previous reboot film, but also still feels like a Star Trek film, which is very good. As for The Wrath of Khan, it takes a very interesting approach, playing it out as more like a horror movie in some parts, which really works to the atmosphere of this film because it's more than just a Star Trek film. It's an epic fight between 2 rival enemies. And so having the atmosphere play out a lot darker and more sinister in certain parts of the film really makes the film more unique and stands out in a franchise that has 13 different films. So this round goes to Wrath of Khan. Alright, the 5th and final round. This round will focus on the performance and portrayal of Khan himself in both films. Now, I can't remember the actor's name who played the original version of Khan, but I know he played the grandfather in Spy Kids 2 and 3. Not sure if he played him again in other Spy Kids films, but those 2 films for sure. And the actor who played Khan in the Into Darkness film, Benedict Cumberbatch. That's how you say his fucking name, people. Benedict Cumberbatch. Got it? Anyway. So Khan, in both films, is portrayed as a pretty intimidating and significant character. And that's kudos to both actors. I mean, in Wrath of Khan, he's calm and collected throughout most of the film until you get to the final part of the film where he has no choice but to go a little bit crazy. With Benedict Cumberbatch's performance, he does have that calm and collectedness about him. But the parts that really stand is when he's more aggressive and actually in action that his performance becomes a little bit more memorable. I can see why this movie gets talked about a lot because this is the ultimate heart of the comparison between the two films, performance of Khan himself. And Benedict Cumberbatch is at a disadvantage here because the Kong in the Wrath of Khan had the prior history of being in one of the episodes of the original show, with the same actor coming back to play the character again in the movie. So there is established connection and a shared history between Kirk and Khan. With Into Darkness, since it's an alternate timeline, this is the first time we're actually meeting Khan, and while he certainly has an intimidating presence, there's not that much of a personal connection. And also, Khan in the second Star Trek film, the original second Star Trek film, he commands the screen. Like, he is quotable as hell. Like, when he's on screen, your eyes are on him. Even when Kirk's on screen, your eyes are on Khan. With Benedict's performance in Into Darkness, he does have, he is significant, he is intimidating, but he doesn't command that same presence as in the back all the way in the second Star Trek film. So, the round goes to The Wrath of Khan, and the movie Face Off, of course, goes to The Wrath of Khan. That's all I have for right now. I should probably wait a few days before putting out my next video. But don't worry, it's gonna be good. So, like I said, I know I didn't plan on doing a formal comparison video like this, but you should know that The Wrath of Khan will make at least one more appearance later this month. Don't you worry about that. In the meantime, like, comment, subscribe, share, and about to hit warp speed now. I don't really have much else of a closer, so see you next time.